Okay, so you're watching a tug of war where both tuggers are equally strong, to the point where the rope is not even moving. Yeah, that would be boring. Don't get me wrong, there's tension in the rope, but there's no tension in the show. So now, let's say the tuggers take turns to be in the lead, so the rope is going back and forth, and then the ground between them falls away, and they're on a ledge where if they lose the war, they fall into a pit of fire. So they start making strategies that require them to gamble, and if a strategy goes wrong instead, the strategy just makes the back and forth more violent until someone slips and it's over. Except no, the tugger fell but not into the fire. He's still in the game, and in a last ditch effort, he comes up with the idea to use his falling momentum to finally defeat the other tugger. Now that was tension.
Like and subscribe.
Tension breeds retention, and there's no better show with retention of a watcher's attention like Death Note. I guess Dragon Ball does, since they use tension to make us watch to scream for 3 episodes, but they do it with explosions. Death Note does it with words, and half of them aren't even out loud. I mean, just look at Death Note fight scenes. What exactly are they doing to have us pay so much attention to every detail? I mean, we just be listening to monologues and we start itching. Let's look at the Naomi Misura case. So Light heads to the police station and by chance meets someone who wants to report some information about Kira. And Light discovers that this is case-breaking info that would lead L straight to Light. This is where the tension begins, with a tug of war of Light needing to kill her and her needing to identify Light as Kira. The escalation arrives when after 40 seconds of writing a name, she doesn't die. Light was given a fake name and now he has to find out her real name to kill her, without raising suspicion. And we are hooked with his conversational jujitsu, trying to figure out how he'll get out of the situation and worrying about him slipping up and getting figured out because of how cautious and smart she is. Now we look at the Kira broadcast case. So quote unquote Kira holds Sakura TV station hostage in order to send a message, and he also proves live that he is Kira. And L realizes he needs to stop the broadcast because that message could cause chaos to ensue, or worse, I think L could see that the world would start taking Kira's side even in law like it was in the future. Okita goes to the station to try stop the broadcast and he gets Kira'd. So there's a tug of war with Kira needing to get his message across and L having to find a way to stop it, as he realizes that Kira killed Okita with just a face. And Aizawa tries to rush over too, and we see that L doesn't want Aizawa to lose his life for nothing. Bro comes up with a plan to send cops there with certain instructions, but the situation escalates when a vehicle smashes into the station and it turns out to be Soichiro Yagami. We know L is planning something from his call with the superintendent, but we don't know what it is. All we know is that L is telling Soichiro to walk out, but if he walks out, he dies. The type of tension that ties these two cases together is what I'm calling the deep end. It's where our protagonist for the scene is thrust into a situation where it seems they are screwed. Our question is, how will they survive this one? Think Ichigo fighting against a new henchman for the first time without knowing whether he can beat them, like Renji, Grimjow, etc. We are really itching to see the character get out of this, and the risk of failure is high. In both cases, Light and L needs to save themselves and others respectively, and the tension we feel as the audience is from wanting them to get out of this seemingly no way out situation. How will Light stop Naomi? How will L save Soichiro? The Lind L Taylor case. So L has to prove to the ICPO that Kira exists and he gives them some instructions, and now we want to see it play out. Bro makes a TV appearance and identifies himself and calls Kira. Light accepts this challenge and goes for the kill. And it turns out Lind was a death row inmate and the real L just proved Kira's existence. Now the tension has built because we are seeing L's plan play out as he provokes Light to kill him and he can't, thereby proving that Kira needs a face and a name to kill people. And then it escalates to L even revealing Kira's location. We really ate good here. L made a debut by holding Kira, who was a myth until then, by the balls and squeezing them and twisting them. He made a promise and he delivered. The bus checking case. So Light has been being followed by an FBI agent and he needs to get rid of him. So he does some experiments with the Death Note and he lures Ray Pemba, the agent, onto the bus to show the results of the experiment. They really gave us a training arc and this is not even a battle shonen. So a criminal tries to hijack the bus and we see that this is all part of Light's plan. And the tension is built because we want to see how exactly Light is going to use the criminal to kill Ray. And we see an escalation when Light plans to jump the hijacker and Ray sees the note and he makes contact with Light to try and keep him safe. This is an escalation tension because now they're actually talking to each other, and when Light calls him out for possibly being a jacker too, we see what he's planning in, and we are itching to see if it works. And it does. And then Light drops a piece of paper and we think it's a mistake, and turns out it's a date plan. Then the jacker can see Ryuk and he goes crazy, jumps off the bus and dies, and oh, bro was so precise and intricate with his operation. He wrote a whole plot around Ray Pemba's character motivations to perform S-tier social engineering to hack his mind for a single piece of information, and he got away with it without any suspicion. Or did he? He performed experiments and then he showed us the results. The type of tension that ties these cases together is what I call the trump card. Our scene's protagonist is either preparing for a situation, or we as the audience are privy to them having a trump card. And when the situation is in play, our question is, will this work? Think Ichigo unlocking a new power and then challenging that earlier henchman's superior after defeating the henchman in a rematch to confirm the trump card's viability, like Byakuya after Renji and Ulquiorra after Grimjaw. We are really itching to see the trump card come into play. We hope it works, but deep down we know that if it fails, our gambling addiction will be triggered and we'll be too invested to look away now that we are back in the deep end. But if the trump card does pay off, we become utterly impressed. In both cases, L and Light went in with a plan for a trump card, and the tension we feel as the audience is from wanting to see it play out. Will L prove Kira's existence? Will Light get Rei's identity without triggering suspicion? The Misa gets arrested case. To set the scene up, we have Light making plans with Misa to end L, and then we have L giving instructions to suspect Light if he dies, while he examines hair as evidence, so he's up to something too. So D-Day arrives and Light meets L, and L tells him that the team has been instructed to suspect him if he dies. This is where the tension begins because Light was just planning to kill L, so does he know something? But Misa arrives and Light introduces her to L and realizes he's won because Misa has seen L's real name. The tension has intensified because now we want to hurry up and get to killing L. And the show starts teasing us with L acting goofy, almost like he's suspicious of Misa. Does he know? And then it reveals that he's a fanboy and we feel relief. Now there's a crowd holding Misa up, and damn it, when will we get a chance to kill L? And then her manager comes and whisks her away, and we get sad that we will have to wait for later, and then turns out L and Light have to split, and Light decides to call Misa. Oh, okay, so L is gonna die. And then L's pocket rings and it turns out he pickpocketed Misa, and damn, L is gonna die later. But Light has Misa's second number and yay, L is gonna die now. And before he can call Misa, L's phone rings and Misa has been arrested under suspicion of being Kira number 2. What the heck? You see, we were being too thrown back and forth that we forgot L was up to something. Turns out that hair he was examining was Misa's. They were both up to something, but L just had the upper hand and the quicker draw. I like to call this kind of tension the poker game. This is the type where two opposing sides both come at each other with a trump card, and we as the audience are privy to both of them having one. The question in our minds that makes us feel the tension is, who got the better trump card? Think Ichigo's Getsuga form after all the training versus Aizen's final form after all that plotting. Honestly, we were just being toyed with and tossed back and forth. This scene was an evil scene, I swear. This is the true tug of war we love to see, because even if the character we root for loses, it's still a good show. I mean, just think about if the thing that ended Kira or L was a deep end situation, or worse, a failed trump card situation. Nah. Deep end situations should be used to show characters' values and motivations, and trump card situations should be used to show what a character is capable of and their ingenuity. Losing in either one of these should just be a stepping stone, but never the end. The end should always be a poker game. Will Light find L's name out, or will L catch Misa? Which brings me to the death of L. After Light gets his memories back and gets Misa's hers back, it turns out she can't remember L's real name. We thought this was his plan and it failed, but when Misa reports this, Ryuk sees Light's reaction, and being familiar with his game, he thinks it's all going as planned. And also this creepy smile. So we think he has a plan. Now we got L suspecting fake rules, and he has a plan to arrange a way to confirm whether they are fake. The poker game of death. Light needs to kill L before this happens, and L needs to confirm this rule and capture Light before he dies. We know how this plays out. We know that Light's true plan was to get rid of both L and Ren. This whole arc had me at the edge of my seat. Goodness. Two endgame plans colliding, and the winner doesn't win by luck. The perfect conclusion to the Light and L poker game. Also, Rem dies.